Hey now, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. So I just got back from the movies and I just saw Behind the Cards. And if you're not familiar, it's a documentary that came out last week about it's supposed to be about the sports card industry. That's how they advertised it at and talking about it and about the boom. I'm gonna swear a lot. That's all bullshit. Yeah, I went to the movie. It was basically a 1.5 hour infomercial pumping why you needed to get into sports cards and NFTs and crap like that. Uh, I was trying to figure out where exactly, or when I should say, when it was made. My guess it was made in spring of 2021. They interviewed someone with Panini, and he said literally during that, it's like it's March 2021 now. And basically what they're doing is they're like putting down buying retail. It's the retail's crappy, it's crappy products. I don't want to give too much away, but they're talking about how it's like crappy products that you need to go to the hobby. It's safer, literally safer. You could get shot going to retail, but if you go into the hobby, they're going to have stuff. Retail is just all flippers, and flippers are bad, but breakers are good, and hobby is good. And it was talked a lot about. I took a lot of notes if you hear me stopping, and a little bit was good. They like touched on vintage, and I mean touched just a little bit on vintage, on the reasons why you should collect vintage versus modern. That was maybe 1 to 2 minutes of the whole thing. The most of it is like marketing director PWCC is on explaining why you have to get into the vault, or this is one of my favorites. The Panini head of Panini's on. They get a little history of the Panini, which I liked. Then they're like, we got rid. You don't have to worry about your cards going down in value because we're creating now ones of ones in artificial scarcity. You don't have to worry about unlimited print runs. Meanwhile, I just read that the biggest drop in the history of any card ever was this Luka Doncic, and it was because there's no reason. It was over pumped, and they're talking like the reason why people are getting back into the industry because they want to connect with their childhood now that COVID's over. And they failed to mention anything about the fact that the US government dumped all this money into the economy and people didn't know what to do with it. And they touch a little bit on the international side of it, but they go, this is no longer a hobby. This is a alternative investment, and you need to look at it for alternative investments and look at the stock market versus the sports card market. And I mean, obviously, it was before like WhatsApp came out. It was a lot to do about eBay, and it was just one big like FOMO and like just pumping it and pumping it and pumping it. And like it was just like it's all collecting post 2020 and like why the 1990 crashed real quickly. And like Steve Aoki is like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you're the like Beckett's like, it's great, great, great. They threw a little shade at PSA and they're explaining why you have to get your cards graded. And I just wish that they did a little more history and they talked a little bit more about the downside. I mean, literally, it was the head of Panini, I think, that said is like, and I said this before, the only way a card can go down, a one-on-one can go down once it goes up is based on field performance. Can't be because of recession. No, that can't be. Or maybe people want to get out. It has to be only because on-field performance. I mean, the only thing actually good in the entire video, entire movie, was Vegas Dave. I mean, Vegas Dave, I don't want to give it too much. Obviously, if you know the man, he's got a big ego, but he's right. And he gave a lot of arguments about stuff. They were even talking about like not collectibles, but like fractional ownership. And it was just like how great fractional ownership is now. And that people who can't afford to buy like an 86 Jordan could get into it. And they really had no negative of it. I mean, Vegas Dave did a little bit about it, but like, it was just like, you have to buy graded cards. You can't buy raw. You can't buy raw. They may be tampered or this and that. And it's funny now because like raw is like the new up and coming thing. I mean, this movie should have been released maybe a year ago and it got it out quicker. But in my heart of hearts, I think like they were looking for sponsors. And I think these card companies that appeared in it helped sponsor the movie because they showed the PSA vault. I mean, there was a couple of good things about it. They showed Panini and how they get the jerseys onto the cards. And according to Panini, and I wouldn't know this, they said the back of every card's a little like barcode, and you could literally open up the card, open up the swatch, flip the swatch around, and you could see exactly what game, or Panini at least could tell you what game exactly that little piece of jersey came from. I thought that was very interesting. And again, like I said, the only one that was real and it was Vegas Dave. He should have been in it more. I wish he were, because he's got such an interesting personality. But like I said, I'm scrolling through my notes. They were just pumping like cars as a great alternative investment, and quote unquote, like you have sports card investor guy on. He's promoting his market movers and how great it is, and you can track things in real time. So I mean, another interesting thing was they were talking about the history of the superfractor Mike Trout, which I didn't know about. And they had the guy who bought the PSA 9 mantle, not the 9.5 that sold this year, but last year. He explains his reasoning for buying it. I don't want to spoil too much of the movie. They talk a little bit about the negotiation back and forth, and like that's it. But then you got Steve Aoki, and like, you have to buy my NFTs. It's amazing. It's amazing. So it was a lot. And I think like the last thing of it was the head of Beckett saying, I don't see a crash coming soon, anytime soon. And even you got like Aoki in it saying, yeah, like I said, it may dip, but it's going to come back. It always goes dipping up, and just collect because you have fun. Come on. I mean, I'm seeing the real world now. I think a lot of people got in not to recapture their childhood. They got in to make a quick buck, and now they're getting out. Let them leave. You know what? More stuff for the true collectors. So, God, 3 videos in like a weekend. You should all be thanking me. So if you're watching this still, I would not recommend the movie. Don't pay for it. It was like made for novices who, it's like to get more people into the industry. That's what I really feel the movie was for. It's not for diehard collectors. There's nothing new in diehard collectors, which is like, it's interesting because they don't promote the movie at all except to diehard collectors. That's it. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, keep collecting.